what the hell is this thing called? Okay, so earlier today, Valve announced the Steam Deck. It's shipping out in December. It's basically a handheld PC, Valve hardware, so we don't really know how well that's going to go. I spoke about it with some friends, and I have a few thoughts that I just wanted to share. First of all, we got to look at the history. You always have to look at the history of Steam hardware. There was the Steam Machine. What was that, like 7 or 8 years ago? Those kind of crashed and burned. They didn't sell real well, and so Valve just stopped supporting them. Then we got the Steam Controller. Again, did not catch on, so Valve stopped supporting it. Then we got the Steam Link, and again, not real popular, so Valve stopped supporting it. And now, just a few years ago, we got the Valve Index. Actually, when did the Index come out? Just 1 second. So the Valve Index, honestly, it came out 2 years ago. It's gotten some support, and it's still definitely a thing for Valve, but I don't know. I feel like 2 years isn't a huge amount of time, so jury's still kind of out on that one. I mean, and that's as close to a success in the hardware game that Valve has ever had. Immediately from the jump, because of their history with hardware, I'm skeptical of this Steam Deck. But then you got to think about, okay, if we're thinking about, is this thing going to take off, you got to think about and the people, like, who do they have to sell this to get it to take off? And the people that they've got to sell it to are the people that are either like playing, one of the base gen consoles from last generation, so like Xbox One, Xbox One S, PS4, PS4 Slim, and or a Switch. And that's like their entire gaming experience in their home. That's all they've got. I just don't think that a $600 handheld PC is really gonna appeal to those people, especially when you can get a $300 Xbox Series S that is significantly more simple. But we'll get into that in just a minute. That's who they have to sell this thing to, because that's kind of the experience that they're gonna top. This thing needs to make PC gaming significantly more approachable than it is. And I don't think it's going to do that. So how are they going to sell it to those people? Well, I think that they need to be like hyper focused on simplicity of use. They need to focus entirely, all of their marketing needs to be, this thing is just stupid easy to use. And then they also need to focus on how this thing it's a gaming device, and that's all it is. If you want to do other things with it, you can, and you have options. But first and foremost, and what its intended use is it's a gaming device. Their videos with IGN, like their interviews and stuff, is already marketing. And how are they already marketing this? They are literally saying it's a tiny PC with controllers attached. That's not going to work. That's not going to sell these people on this thing. They're talking a whole lot about like what it can do in docked mode. By the way, that dock is optional, and you're already looking at, how much is this thing going to cost? 1 second. So you're looking at like the 64 gig model is $399. The 256 gig model is $529, and then the 512 is $649. And so at those prices, like a dock not being included, I could stomach it for $400, but like $530 or $650, not a chance. Like, you have to include the dock, especially if that's going to be something you're going to lean on. And Microsoft has struggled with the Surface products because all of their advertising around the Surface focuses on how great it is with the attachable keyboard, but then they don't bundle in the attachable keyboard. And that's definitely a mistake. It creates a little bit of a sticker shock when you go into the store to buy this thing, and like it's advertised as one price, and then they kind of nickel and dime you with all the accessories. And so like by marketing it in that way already, and we'll see how like the actual marketing campaign goes, but by marketing it in that way, by that being their talking points, the people that they're really appealing to are like the hardcore PC players that are already running like top tier hardware in their systems. This isn't something that they would put on a dock. This is something that this would be purely a portable PC, which is fine. I think that like that, for those people that are like that hardcore into PC, I think that it's a really cool accessory, or like, I mean, yeah, it's its own standalone device, but it's sort of a pseudo accessory to your PC, right? But by marketing to those people, they're never going to sell enough of these things to see it live another day, right? They're never going to sell enough of these things for it to get off the ground. And that's kind of the biggest problem. And so it's cool, but ultimately I think this thing is going to fail. I think it's going to fail pretty spectacularly. The software, like there isn't any software, so they're just porting SteamOS over to, you know, work on this hardware. And again, that's fine. SteamOS is fine, but it's not like it's going to be running specialized games. It's going to run games that you can play in Steam. And most games in Steam are designed to be played on like a desktop or a like sit down with a lot of time kind of experience. And Nintendo has proven with the Game Boy and the DS and the 3DS and that when designing a handheld game, you have to really keep that in mind, that it has to be like, you have to be able to play it in really small bursts, and it has to be like pick up, jump in, play for a few minutes, and then jump out. That has to be super easy. The Switch, I think that this is one of the biggest areas where the Switch has struggled, is because the sleep wake functionality of the Switch is just absolutely on point. It's incredible. But you look at the experiences, and there have been a lot of games that have been ported from the more powerful consoles, like Doom 2016, Witcher 3, Outer Worlds, and these games are not the best experiences on Switch, even though you would assume that they would be, and it's because they're not designed to be played as a handheld. Then you look at games like Link's Awakening, which was originally designed to be played on the Game Boy, games like Breath of the Wild, games like Splatoon 2, Smash Bros. Games that are designed to be played in short bursts are the most successful games on the platform. That's something that I think they're going to struggle with without having, you know, software that is tailor-made to be a short burst experience. You get on the bus, you're not going to sit on the bus for 3 hours and play The Witcher, or you're not going to sit on the bus for 3 hours and play Mass Effect. You're going to get on the bus, you're going to, you know, pop out your Switch, go catch some fish in Animal Crossing, and then you're going to get off and go about your day. That's what these kinds of devices are used for. And without that sort of software that's tailor-made for that, I think that this thing is going to struggle. Then on top of that, it's just SteamOS. It's SteamOS that's been ported to work on this hardware, and SteamOS was designed for a console, or for like a PC, right? For a desktop experience. Now, I mean, we got to take a look at Apple. Why doesn't Apple just run macOS on the iPhone? Because in order to have a successful operating system on a portable device, it has to be an operating system that is designed from the ground up to be portable. That's why we see iOS being so successful. And we saw, remember, like way back in the day when like Windows Phone was like trying to imitate the Windows desktop experience. That's why we saw that fail miserably, is because that doesn't really work. You have to have your operating system, your software, both operating system and games and whatever other software you're going to be running, be tailor-made for a portable experience. And that's not what this is going to be. You can't just take desktop software, throw it on a portable device and say, yep, it's good, we're all done. It's not going to work. I just don't think that they're going to sell enough for this thing to get continued support from Valve. Even if it's dwindling, you know, it's going to be a low priority, very similar to how the PS Vita was a low priority for Sony. This thing is not going to take off. It's not going to get a Gen 2. I think it's really cool. To be clear, I think it's really cool. I would love to be wrong about this, but I don't think I am. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Don't forget, you can see everything I do all in one spot over at coldnorthpro.com. Still going to be uploading regularly scheduled videos. Got one coming out tomorrow. So until then, talk to you later.